Welcome to Intersection Chats. Today is the 40th live chat, and we are going to talk about the intersection between personal brand story and brand photography. I am delighted to have here today Clara. Thank you so much for accepting this invitation.
Thank you so much for having me here, and congratulations on the 40th episode. That's quite a milestone. So congratulations,
Yeah.
Remy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Reme Mancera. I am a personal brand story strategist. Please, Clara, tell a bit about who you are and what you do.
So my name is Clara Wang. I am the founder of Clara Wang Photography, your brand photographer and visual marketing partner for product and service brands. I am based in New Jersey in the United States. I like to think my brand photography style is more of the narrative kind and it meets with brand strategy. So it's not just about creating beautiful images but more of a strategic partner, helping founders sort of uncover, articulate, and visually communicate their story to make their brands memorable and trustworthy. Especially in nowadays, they're very crowded markets to sort of build that distinct recognition. Um, a lot of my clients, when they come to me, they really are on the second chapter of their lives as well. They come with like a full background of corporate or experience. So a lot of them really are looking to turning their passion into not just a profitable reality, but also like a fulfilling one in their second wind of their lives.
Love that. And I feel that we have so much overlapping in several things. And I feel
Yes.
like that was what we connected for. And so let's go with the topic of today, like this idea of the connection between personal brand story and brand photography. What has been in your experience, the connection between those two concepts?
There is absolutely a big connection. I don't see them as two separate things. It's almost like one cannot happen without the other. So photography, in my opinion, is simply like the visual language of someone's brand story. And if the story isn't clear, then the images don't match and then they don't feel real. And then the messaging is not quite cohesive. So even with the strongest messaging, it could totally lose credibility. And I also think with photography, and brand photography and the story, I think personal brand story is very similar, or we can also call it like the founder's story. So there's the founder story, there could be a brand story, there could be a customer one, a process story, a mission story. To me, they all seem like ingredients to a beautiful dish or a cake. So you need all of this to put together to create this like beautiful brand, this business as an entity. So I'm hoping my expertise is sort of like the intersection, kind of like the name of this podcast. So you have the brand strategy, you have the visual storytelling, the narrative photography. When you put all three together, these business owners, they can speak their truth, they can showcase their business, but really also share a part of themselves that resonates with the audience that they want to connect with. So, in simple terms, Remy, you do the creation of the idea and the concept, and then I take that and translate it into photos that speaks those ideas and concepts.
Mm, yeah, I feel the same. Like they are so connected, and I feel like using like that connection between them can be super powerful for businesses because it's like bringing the visual element of the story, the strategic storytelling specifically, and then in the other way around, it's like how you complement that visual image with your narrative, with your storytelling, and especially with the strategic part, like the intention behind why you are choosing one specific story and deciding to go with that one. And I remember that. at the beginning of when we connected, I remember that you shared one specific example from a client that was related to dance lessons and strawberries or something like that. I remember that, and you sharing some pieces of images that were connecting to that idea and
Yeah,
how is like, okay, this, and I always like to think about storytelling in a way of starting a conversation and how you
absolutely.
can put some clues in the image and then complement the rest of the text or the things that you are sharing, and the other way around. So I
Yeah.
remember that how you are have been doing this for years, using the stories in the images that you do for your clients.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, really, in my opinion, the personal brand story comes before the camera. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to book a brand photo shoot. I'm going to choose the outfits and the locations. But in reality, working with someone like you, it starts with questions like, why did you start this business? What do you believe in? Who are you trying to help? What's the transformation you're trying to provide? When these answers become clear, the photography part is like a language, right? It becomes
Mm,
more intentional and instead of just decorative. So for my part, the camera is not creating your brand, but it's sort of like revealing it.
mm,
And also I do feel like good brand photography comes with alignment. So I do see the biggest gap so far is inconsistency. So one's website can say one thing, and then they have an Instagram that says something else. LinkedIn is like, oh, so corporate. Their headshot does not feel like their brand vibe at all. And then if they sell products, the product pictures don't match the vibe on the website. If you're able to sort of put this all together in one sort of feel, everything telling the same story, the same concept, then the cliche that people say, people don't buy products, they buy credibility, they buy from people. So that really is true. um they can connect with them emotionally. So they built the loyalty. They're like, oh, this person's trustworthy. They must really know what they're doing. So if you can put those two together and work together, it's really, you can be that one step ahead of everybody else in the crowd.
mm. Yeah, and I totally agree on this idea of how you want the vibe to be a similar vibe in the
Mhm.
different channels, in the different ways that you communicate. I like to invite people to think about how in the text, for example, if they are writing an email, how the email can feel like the same type of emotion when they are reading your socials or when they are reading something else or when they are talking to you. I feel
Yeah.
like with the images it's kind of the same, which is the emotion that you want to convey. And let's say your brand is like warm and near the people, and
Mhm.
then your images feels like cold
Yeah.
and kind of like putting a space between you and your people is like, okay, that doesn't match like the type of emotions, the type of communication that you want to bring with the
Yeah.
images. So I feel like that cohesiveness in the different channels is really important, and sometimes we kind of overlook. And
Yes.
then I would love your thoughts on this because, of course, when you are doing professional pictures, you can have someone taking care of that and making sure that everything is in place. But we will have usually as solo business owners, small business owners are the people that I usually work with. They are going to be a combination of professional pictures, but also some pictures that they take with your phone or things like that. So I feel like that's something really important, even if you are doing your own pictures, making sure that the vibe is similar and there are some cohesiveness there.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think nowadays, I like that you brought that up because there was a topic I wanted to talk about, and everybody wants to talk about right now. It's AI, right? People are like, "Oh, AI is so great. AI can do so much." But is AI going to replace us? You know, a lot of photographers, even story writers and brand strategists, they all kind of feel like, will this AI component take away our projects, our jobs, and our clients? I actually think AI is going to make authentic storytelling even more valuable. There's so much content, right? It's so easy to spot an AI generated image. There's stock photography, there's templates. Like, I would rather my client use DIY iPhone or camera phone images and mix that up with traditional photography or professional photography. It gives them that competitive edge, and people can recognize those genuine stories. So while AI can generate beautiful images and stories, you can't recreate like an actual lived experience. And also there is a little bit of the difference then where narrative photography versus traditional brand photography. You know, narrative, you know, you narrate a story, you tell a story. So traditional branding would be like, what does the business look like? This is what the shop looks like. These are my colors. These are the products that I sell. But a narrative photography brings that storytelling aspect that you always talk about. It's like, what does it feel like to work with this person, right? It's a very different conversation when emotion becomes part of that strategy. So you're absolutely right. A mix of it makes it feel more real versus like perfect.
Hmm. Yeah, and I love that you bring up that specific point because yeah, I feel like it's a topic to think about, and I totally agree. I prefer if even for a customer perspective, I feel like, and this is I hear some studies around there. I was really interested, but I didn't get the numbers. But it was like they were asking people how are incorporating AI in their work, and they were okay with it. But as a
Mm,
consumer, they were kind of rejected when they see others using that images or things like that. So it was like the experience as users is like we see those and we prefer a raw image or a text with typos that is real, that something is more blended and more
yeah.
generic. So I feel that with the images is kind of the same. And I think it's going to be, as you say, it's going to make even better when you have one of those professional pictures taken or raw. I feel like it's going to be like one of the two edges. Like
Yeah.
you will go with really quality, with someone doing like the proper narrative photography for you. And then the other side of doing really just with my phone, taking here really spontaneous looking kind of images. So I feel like it's going to be splitting into those areas somehow. And
Yeah.
then in the middle, the people that are incorporating AI, I feel like at this point, I know that this is going to change and it's changing super quick. But at this point, when you see an image that is with AI, you kind of feeling, if you know the person's face and you see an image that is kind of replicating them, you feel like
Yeah.
it's similar but not the same and something is off.
Yeah.
That feeling, I don't want that feeling in my pictures, making that for my audience, feeling something is off. I want
Yes.
real me, even if the picture I am not super happy with the picture that is like how I am looking because of my inner critic and such. I
Yeah.
kind of have this feeling like, okay, for now, I will keep being me, even if I need to repeat the same picture a couple
Yeah.
of times, or even if I need to put something out there that I am like kind of, oh, this eye is a little bit here or there, or my face or my hair or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. No, I hear you. So I am, don't get me wrong, because I don't want to get canceled, but like AI is a very great tool.
Oh,
And
yes.
I use it for my business as well, but AI should not be an option to replace certain aspects of your business or the way you run your business. I think there's a lot of AI tools out there that you can take like a beautiful headshot of yourself and AI generate it and make it good. That's fine. If that's the budget and investment that you have to begin with, absolutely fine. But it should evolve. You should be able to at some point invest your business into some sort of real photography. So like for brand photography itself, it should be a business asset.
Yes.
Photography is not just content, it's a strategy, right? So the brand photo should work. It's not just about posting on Instagram, it's not just about for your website, but it should be working like in the background when you're not working as a business asset. So I think a combination of that is really what will put you over the edge of other people.
Yeah, I feel like I totally agree on the idea of being an asset for your business. And even sometimes I feel like making an investment in some professional pictures is similar as making an investment on creating a website that has a certain look.
Mm,
Uh, is kind of making your business be more established
yeah,
and having again, if you cannot do every quarter a new set of pictures, at least having a set of a few of them that you can use, I feel like that's a great investment for someone starting. Then the idea of how they are assets that you will use in different places and as a way to be recognized. And that's why the narrative in this strategy is so important, because it's like there will be cohesiveness when someone see your pictures, they kind of work together. And it can be in your website, can be in your social media. Also, when you are a guest, you are
yeah,
sharing a picture for them to use in their images and in their promos. You want a picture that when someone see that can connect that, okay, this is the same person that I am following, or this.
yeah,
I feel like sometimes that's also something that people tend to maybe have different pictures with so different between them that you are like, okay, I am not certain 100% sure that this person is this other person, or is
yeah,
kind of something is different, and you can get people a bit confused in a
yeah,
way. So
yeah, yeah,
you want to again this idea of the cohesiveness and showing like how your brand has a cohesive language. And I agree on something that you said before, how photography is one of the ways that you express your brand, and
mhm,
it's an asset for the message that you want to communicate. That's why I feel it's so important to start first of all, okay, what is my goal? What is the message that I want to convey? Who is my audience? What is like the offering that I want for them, my proposal for them, and making sure that your brand images and your brand assets are working towards that.
yeah, yeah. But there actually is one like unpopular opinion, but I'm gonna throw it out there. The brand photo shoot, whether it's for your products or whatever, or for yourself, it is for the business, but I also think it's for the founder herself or himself.
Mm,
um there is a confidence building and transformation part of it, like an emotional part of it for the business owner, that not a lot of people realize. So a lot of my clients, they come to me and they go, oh, I really hate being photographed. This is my bad side, this is my good side. I don't like this, I don't like the way my nose looks. But then at the end, when they look at the images, they're like, wow, I finally feel that my business looks like the way it feels. So the photography part of it, it doesn't create the confidence, right? It uncovers it. And it's able to uncover it because these clients, before they come to the photo shoot, they've taken the time to define the story or how they want to show up, whether it's with you or with the pre-shoot work that we do together. um you can really see a lot of these clients sort of transform and feel more confident telling their story because they have images that match with what they're trying to say. You can have very professional pictures, but if it doesn't feel like themselves, if it feels very forced, if it doesn't match with, the services that you're trying to provide that, you've uncovered with using your sort of formula working with them, and it just doesn't feel right. And you're absolutely right. The brand story should evolve. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've looked at a client whose website is like 5 to 10 years old and they don't even look like the picture that they have on there anymore. We're only human, right? Our hair color changes, our looks change, but your business should be evolving, your audience may change, your expertise might grow, so your visual part of it should also evolve. And the photography part of it, it doesn't mean that you get rid of what you did in the past. The photography part will sort of document that evolution and it shows growth. I think that is what also really resonates and with people, it's like they're not just the same. They do make changes and evolve.
Mm. Yeah, and I work a lot with people that they are somehow navigating a transition in their business. So that evolution is something like really priority in their business stage.
Yeah.
And as you say, like how working on this brand strategy is helpful not just for the brand and the business, but also for the person. I
Yeah.
see that when sometimes if they are navigating this transition and changing, like kind of expanding their niche or focusing on a different audience, they have this feeling of, okay, how I am sharing my story, how I'm making my message clear, that this evolution has happened, and how everything feels kind of disjointed, and how it can bring a message clear for what I want to convey.
Hmm.
And after working together, I see that transformation, as you said, this idea of, oh, I now understand this, things make sense, and I know how to convey, how to articulate my stories and highlight it what is important in my business. And I talk about how, of course, we work on storytelling for that projected authority and the authority that others will perceive. But I feel like during that process, you also grow the inner authority. And I feel like with the pictures, with the photography, kind of happens similar, because it's like when you feel like, okay, this image is making, like, this is aligned with the kind of business that I have and the kind of business that I want to have, is like, okay, I am proud of sharing this picture. This picture represents me, and I can see myself growing because that picture is showing that version of me. So I
Yeah.
feel like there are alignment there as well.
Yeah, it's like tangible proof, right? They can see it. And entrepreneurship is really hard, especially for solo entrepreneurs. Sometimes it's not about the revenue coming in. Sometimes there's more cost that is going out, and some of these growth is very, very, very slow. But if an entrepreneur or a solopreneur can go back and look at these pictures and be like, wow, this is legit. I have a legit business. I can't tell you how many times, really, sometimes clients look at their brand photos and they can almost visualize what the future might be, and they come up with like new ideas or certain shoots that certain captures that we do. It's more about the future. This is what I might want to be. It kind of keeps them as a reminder whether or not they use it. And that's why, this brand photo shoot, it's not just about the business, but it's really also about the founder itself, like a therapy session, a mini therapy session almost,
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Um, I how I approach personal brand story is like instead of looking for one specific story, I have them identifying 10 meaningful moments of their journey, and each of them is connected to several things. So I have like 10 categories, and the top three are the audience, the values, and the approach. So, what are your stories connected to the people that you work with? Why is important to work with them? Then the second, the values, what are things that are important to you, and what are other moments in your journey where those values were there, so you can highlight that as something important to you in general. And then the approach. I feel like this is key also in the differentiation, because it's like sharing what is different from
Yeah.
what you do. Maybe you offer, I work a lot with service business owners. It's like, okay, how the offer that you have, the service that you provide, there are more people offering this kind of something similar, but your approach will be different. Something
Yes.
will be different in the way that you do that. How you can incorporate that, bringing one story, maybe from a past work experience, maybe from academic background, your hobbies, whatever it is. And I feel like that's an opportunity to use that in their pictures.
Yeah.
And I have seen how some clients is like, yeah, in my next photo shoot, I am going to use these dance stories, because I know that with them you can play and you can, again, starting the conversations. And I feel like also the idea of how you have a variety of visual concepts and elements that you can bring in different ways that give you a lot of flexibility. Maybe you are doing a new photo shoot, but you have certain elements that keep coming back, or you keep showing in different ways. So I would love to know your experience working with someone, as you said, that they are evolving. Maybe you have some clients that you have been working with them for several years, and how has been that evolution of how you, there are elements that are kind of key and they bringing back, or how is that process of showing that evolution but keeping some elements that are similar?
Well, it's interesting because I'm starting to see that some corporate companies or like mid-sized companies, they really value the art of storytelling and brand photos. Um, most of the clients that are doing this as their first photo shoot, they want to get their website up. It's a very structured process of what is included in their digital library. It includes like pictures of who the founder is, what their service are, the feel, if they have a space that the clients come to meet them with. It's very, very showcase, but the ones that truly sort of level up is if there's an element that's incorporated in there. And I will tell you, 9 out of 10 times, that specific element is the human aspect of it.
Mm,
And it's the actual human. So even in a mid-sized company, yes, they're a finance company, they can show people talking to clients, but if there's stock images, like this guy doesn't work here, or that woman, we've seen her face and she's also a realtor in another brand company. So they want the actual real people to be there. And the next for photo shoots that are subsequent after the very first one, clients do realize they need to add more of their personal sharing in there, and that is truly what captures it. It doesn't always have to be the happy, rainbows and flowers. This is what you will look like after you work with me. Sometimes these photos show grit, they show the negative part of it, they show the before part of it. It makes the storytelling more relatable.
mm,
Um, I mean, have you ever followed exercise coaches or fitness coaches, right? They show all these muscular, young, hot-bodied people. It's great, they obviously know what they're doing, but I'm like a woman in my mid 40s and I know I will never be like that. So it doesn't feel relatable.
mm,
So I guess what I'm trying to say is that Your photos need to say something more than just showing what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And something else, and I have seen that I work a lot with coaches and life coaches specifically and digital service providers. Those are my main two group of people. And with coaching, which is something intangible and you don't have something specific that you can show in the picture because your transformation is kind of happening in a non like tangible way,
Yeah, yeah,
like kind of an extra level of how you can make your storytelling powerful to convey that, and in the visuals how you make your pictures different from someone else, because you know how it is, you go to a website and they look kind of similar. You don't want that for your brand. You want to
yeah,
your brand to have your personality. So that's why I feel like there combining stories with your pictures, with your
mm,
photography, it's a great way to make your pictures shows, of course, that you are someone relatable, you are someone trustworthy, but also that you are someone unique and
yeah,
how you are different from someone else. And that can be because of your stories, your background. As you say, I also work with a lot with people that is kind of the second chapter. They have been maybe doing something different, maybe working in corporates, and now they are in this business and they are also in that moment of transition. So usually are people that they have a lot of stories, a lot of different life experiences. So how you bring that to make your content be like, I like to say that you use storytelling as a way to add species to your, like making more flavor to your
yeah,
dish, because it's like it's something plain and you bring your spices and this, and then it's like,
yeah,
okay, there is more flavor, this is different, and my
yeah,
combination will be different from someone else. So I feel like that aspect is also something interesting to bring to the pictures as well, to the photography, and thinking about, okay, maybe there are a natural skill that is something valuable for the work that I do, is something valuable that I bring to my business. How I show in other moment of my life that was the case, and how I can show it visually as well. So
yes.
I maybe I share a specific example for people that this that's abstract again, so maybe an example can be useful. I have a client, she's a business coach, and she has this strategic mindset, so she's always like painting you the scenarios and thinking a couple of moves ahead. And
Mm,
when she was younger, she was playing a lot of chess with her auntie, and her auntie always was highlighting, nah, this is, you are always two moves ahead of me, and having this strategic, because it's a skill that she has. It is her natural way of thinking, like painting this scenario and thinking about the pros and cons and all that. So bringing the chess as an element, visual element to her photography can be
mm,
again the way of starting a conversation, and can be more subtle or less, because can be, let's say I have a bookshelf behind, let's say I have a piece of chess there, that could be it. Or it
yeah.
can be more obvious, like doing a picture where she's in front of a board of chess. So again, this idea of how the way that we do things is not just because I learn a methodology or I learn this way of doing my work. It's also combined with myself, my personality, my way of being in the world. How we can bring that to the pictures and the image and the visuals. I feel like there are a lot of opportunities that we want to use.
Yeah, for sure. When you're talking about that chess aspect of your client, it's not even just about the strategy and like being able to beat your opponent like two steps ahead, thinking ahead. So it shows that she's visionary, right? She's strategic.
Yeah.
But there's a ticking clock element that came to my mind. You know how every time you do a move, you have
Yes.
to hit the clock? So there's
Yes.
a time crunch, pressure, handling under pressure, but still even being able to see ahead. Like that is the aspect that really showcases her expertise. Like that's her gift. Not everybody is able to be. To her it could be very like yeah, is that not what everybody thinks? Like no, not everybody thinks that way. So
Yes.
that's such an awesome story and such a it's so great you were able to pull that her gift, that talent out of her, and
Yeah.
be able to see how you can incorporate that in her story. That's so cool.
Yeah. And yeah, and sometimes I love when we find, because usually, of course, people are thinking of the big pivotal moments and the turning points in their life. But I love when we can go beyond that and go to past work experience that are totally unrelated and how that bring another aspect of differentiation,
Yeah.
or things that you like. I have a client that she is a web designer, and when we were working on her stories, one of the things that she highlighted about the things that she likes to do is gardening. And through the work, we identify one moment that is meaningful to her, that is like every season she's enjoying a glass of wine, enjoying her garden. And she works like in seasons, like one season she really work on the garden and the next season is more like enjoying.
Yeah.
And she does the same for her clients. She does these intensive services. So she create the website in a short period of time. She knows how to handle the tools, how to
Yes.
handle the resources, and do this in a super effective way. So it's kind of related,
Yeah.
and was really fulfilling when we were working. I said, "Oh, do you think this can be connected to that?" It's like,
Oh
"Oh, I
yeah.
haven't thought about that this way, but I love it. I am going to use it in my name on the services, and it's going to be." Again, great for creating analogies when she is explaining examples and such.
Yeah.
And it can bring the visual element as well, how you can play with the tools ideas, with the gardening. So all that to invite people to think beyond the typical, I want to look professional and I want to look how is in my industry, that the standard images that you can see in my industry, and that's the one that I want to have in my portfolio or in my library. So I
Mhm.
feel like photography is such a creative elements to play with and to
Yes.
bring that. So I feel like it's a space, it's just a way of expressing your brand and your values and what is important to you. So I feel like using the those aspects to make it even more creative, even more nuanced of who you are and what is important to you. So I feel that's an opportunity, that's an asset that we want to use.
Wow, Remy, I have to say that's very impressive that you pull that out of her because as a web designer, it's almost like gardening couldn't have been an even better hobby of her because it's not just about the growing and the seasonal part, like it's the nurturing part. Like she
Yeah,
knows that there's like
yeah,
a season. And you know, the website now is like your shop, right? Your storefront. And it
yeah,
needs constant watering and tending and making it look pretty, but also the ground, the structure needs to be, the soil needs to be fertilized for it to grow better. I
yeah.
think it's so beautiful that you were able to make that connection for her.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank
so
you.
good. So good. That
Yeah,
was
and
so
this is something
good.
I really, really enjoy that part of the process, like
Yeah.
exploring, because I would say like it's like opening a book. At the beginning, you see the cover, but you don't know really the stories of the character and how it has been that to this point that they are.
Yeah.
And with the clients, it's kind of the same. I can see their pictures. I can have a bit of okay first impression, but then it's like okay, what are the stories, the decisions that make them move to this specific industry, what is important to them, why they
Yeah.
decide to work with a certain group of people. And I have so many examples that I can bring, but always with the audience, always there is a part of, okay, why is important to you work with that group of people?
Hmm.
There are always a connection. Could be that this is a past version of yourself, could be that you have been in a situation where someone that you love has been through that, and you maybe was not able to support them in that moment, but you want to be now supporting other people in that. That could be an inspiration. That could be so some element will be there that will show why. So
Yeah.
using that moment as as a catalyst to show, okay, this is the story why I am connected to this group of people, and that's what I want to share with people so they have the context of why this is important to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like we can do that with words, but we can also do that with the images. So
Yes.
the
It's like
the
just a different
awesome.
language. English,
Yes.
Spanish, Italian, but this is like photography is a different language. I absolutely I truly believe, and this might feel a little woo-woo and spiritual. I truly believe when people find the thing that they were meant to do, like you really feel it. So I
Mm.
don't know if you've heard about human design. Do
Mhm.
you know the work about human design? So I had my chart read and I was like, okay, what is this human? It's not a personality test. It's not, like how do you work? It's not a disc. It's more of like the makeup of who you are and your personality. So what I was told that my heart center and I don't remember the exact terms, but my mind is very open. It's almost like a blank slate, and that's why I am able to be I easily empathize with the way that people feel. I can mirror the feeling of a person and how they are and who they are. So it could be a good thing. Like being a photographer is probably the best thing because I can feel how they feel and sort of reflect it out. But then on the other hand, then like I kind of absorb all the energy and lose
Mm.
track of who I am. I was like, oh God, now there's an identity issue I have to deal with. But then, just like what you said, and the work that you do is really just delving in and trying to find out who they are and what they were meant to do. I think it's so great.
Mm. Yeah, and when you said that when you find something that you really like, some your body tells you. I
Yes.
remember when I was like putting together the framework and deciding to focus on personal brand story specifically, that
Yeah.
I always say like something click. Something was like, yeah,
Mm.
this is it. This is the thing that I want to keep focusing on. I am
Yeah.
excited about this.
Yeah.
And I remember one specific moment when I was like, okay, yeah, this is something else. I was working with a client, just in the personal brand strategy. Story was always one of the pillars. So I was working story inside that framework. And she's a copywriter for fashion brands.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, how was your relationship with fashion when you were a child? And I was thinking, oh, maybe she was making dresses for her little dolls, just making my ideas.
Yeah.
She really surprised me. And she said, yeah, I remember playing under the swing table of my mom because my mom is a tailor, my grandpa was a tailor. So she grew up in a family of tailor, people making really high quality clothes. And she did never mention that because all the stories that she was looking for was related to her writing and her copywriting credibility and credentials, but she overlooked that story. And I was like,
Wow.
wow, this is such a easy to paint visual element,
Yeah.
and it's so memorable because it's connected also with the values, and the type of clients that she was working with was like really high quality, customized, and all that. So it's like, and for me that moment was eye opening because I was like, okay, she has overlooked this, how people that has maybe not so obvious connection are
Yeah.
overlooking stories that can bring a lot of information.
Yeah.
And today, when I was thinking of our topics, I was like, wow, she can make some kind of picture with like under a table with a, how do you say, sewing machine.
Distillation. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Without the story, without the context, can be an shocking image or something interesting, different.
Yeah.
But then when you know the story, it makes a lot of sense. And then it's like connecting the dots and making like another touch point with your narrative. I
Yeah.
feel like that's something we can think about, how we can use the visuals and the different ways that we are sharing our narratives, how we can make that each of them are playing together. So it's like amplifying the impact of that moment of connection that you want to bring, of that moment of building trust and highlighting what makes you different.
Yeah, and that's why having someone like you with your expertise is so important. We're so caught up in our own bubble because, again, as a solo entrepreneur, you're like, you have to do this. It has to be done this way. These are the top three things you need to get done. But then you sort of lose track. You only see like this amount, the tunnel vision. But to have someone like you be able to piece, like ask those questions and piece those connections together, I think it's so valuable. And, even with this lady that you're talking about, yes, she's a fashion content writer. The first image that came to my mind with the sewing aspect is her sitting under or next to a sewing machine, and she's sewing the pieces of cloth that has words on it together. I mean, that would be
Mm,
such a cool
yes,
image, right?
yes,
But yeah, I
yeah.
love it.
I love how it's like I am sharing a story and you see the images already and your creativity is flowing already, of course, because yeah, that's what you do.
It's
Um,
so fun. Growing up, I loved reading, but I love flipping through magazines and like picture books even better.
oh, that's nice.
I
Yeah.
also it's just like the visual aspect of it. It's just so fun. It's so fun.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, something that I have always loved, and I don't know the connection yet, but maybe something to explore. Those pop-up books,
Yeah.
even when I knew how to read, I still remember when I learned to read, I was super excited because, yeah, I was like able to decipher all the signs and all the
Yeah.
books. And so I was super excited. So even after that, I remember, and still today, if I see a book that has some kind of popping up
You
thing,
love
I
it?
am like, oh, I love illustration. I don't know how to draw stick
I love that.
person, but
I love it.
I
And
follow
then
a lot.
sometimes they have a thing you can pull and the hand goes up and down or some part of it moves. So great.
Yeah. So the visual element, I feel like, yeah, it's a different language and it's beautiful how they can like complement each other.
Yeah.
And I feel like, again, for I work a lot with people that they are multi-passion passionate and they have multiple interests, so creative people. So I
Yeah.
feel like bringing that aspect of creativity in the photography, working together with someone like you that knows about not just how to make a super good picture but also how to bring the storytelling and the narrative and the strategy.
Yeah.
I feel like that's super key, especially
Yeah.
that idea of the strategy, because it's like, yeah, you can know how to make a proper picture. You can see like, okay, this is proper picture, lighting, everything is perfect. But
Yeah.
then that aspect of, okay, what is the intention? What is the story that I want to share with that piece of visuals?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree. 100%.
Okay, I think we can keep talking, but maybe
I
we need
know.
to stay
I love this.
stay here. So I always like to ask for what would you how would you summarize the connection between our topics between personal brand story and brand photography? So a few words to summarize that connection.
I would say your brand story is what people will remember long after they've forgotten about your services or the products that you sell or your business. Um, Photography doesn't have to look successful. It just needs to look believable and relatable. It's not about creating a new identity. It's really more about revealing. Like we're like putting all these connections together of something that's already in the founder, in him or her. Um, and it's really about connection,
Mm,
really.
yeah. Yeah, I love that. For me, I would say that both personal brand story and photography can be a way of really intentional to express what is important.
Mm,
Like in the sense of you are sharing the visuals to make an impression, to help people understand who you are, what you stand for, what is important to you. And I feel the way that you share your stories is also impacting in that area of
yeah.
expressing who you are and what you stand for. So I feel like, yeah, as I said, it's like an incredible asset for your business. And especially as solo business owner, we want to leverage that.
Yes, 100%. Speaking your truths, and you don't feel like, I mean, I have that in my business too. Sometimes I'm like just screaming out into the wild. Is anybody hearing me?
Oh yes, but these like the right people is listening, or they will find you. So it makes sense
Yeah.
that you are keep saying that. Um, okay, this was amazing. I would love for you to share where people can learn more about what you do, and maybe look if they are in your area and they want to work with you. So please tell us where they can
Sure.
go and connect with you.
Well, you can find my work and my storefront on clarawangphotography.com. I'm also on Instagram at Clara Wang Photography. I do on locations servicing New York, New Jersey area. But I also do have a ship and shoot program for product-based businesses where you send me your stuff. I do the photo shoot
Oh.
in my home studio for the products, and then I either keep it for long-term like subscription images, or I just ship it back to you.
Oh, that's great. I love that. So yeah, so people that are interested, just check it out. Just even if you are not in the area, go and check it out because the photography is on there are a lot of things to just get inspired there. And for those curious about my framework and the story connectors, they can go to my website. There I have examples and ideas and questions that they can start asking themselves to think about their own stories. And of course, if they want go deeper, happy to help. I work one on one, and I love working people to helping people to identify their stories.
You're very good at that, Remy.
Oh,
Just with
thank
our
you so much.
conversation. I love that.
Thank you so much. So, thank you, Clara, again for this. This has been a blast. And thank you, everyone watching. And if you get some idea or some inspiration, please share in the comments. We would love to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Until next
you.
time.